What's the deal, y'all, man? Blame It on Chris here, back with another video. And you know I'm bringing you the best entertainment, the best hip-hop, and the best politics, news, and opinions. And I ain't sugarcoating nothing. So make sure you tap in with your boy. Make sure you like and subscribe to this video because guess what? We got a topic today that's breaking the internet. We're talking about Nickelodeon. I don't even know if you guys have been hearing, but Drake Bell has recently come out and said that he experienced SA, which stands for sexual assault, on Nickelodeon while he was a child actor. This has broken the internet. When I say this is going to be a topic of discussion for weeks, this is going to be a big topic of discussion. So guess what? We're going to discuss it. We're going to get all up into it. Make sure you stay tuned. Let's get into it. So as always, I appreciate you guys for tapping in today. This topic, honestly, is something that it kind of hit different, and I really want to speak on it because we all grew up, and I was born in 2000. So I grew up in prime Nickelodeon era, especially as it more, Disney developed, but we're not going to talk about Disney. I grew up in prime Nickelodeon era. I loved Drake Bell. I even got a picture with Drake Bell. I'll try to find it. I even got a picture with Drake Bell when I went to Washington D.C. And I just remember the hundreds of kids just like when they seen him just go, "Oh!" It was just one of those things. And Drake and Josh was one of my favorite shows, but just not even that. It was just so many shows that I was just in love with on Nickelodeon. We can go down that road all day. Today we're talking about the sexual assault that he experienced when he was young and on Nickelodeon. I'm gonna give you my honest opinion, but I just want to share a couple clips with you guys, and then we just gonna dive right into it.
Dealing with anybody on the shows or anything, right?
It was a child actor.
On one of our shows.
He didn't even know.
It wasn't dealing with anybody on the shows or anything, right?
It was a child actor.
On one of our shows.
Yes.
Can I be honest? The immediate shock and just furiousness that I felt was just immediate. I don't know. When I seen Drake, I was just like, no, not Drake. Drake. Ugh.
Drake Bell speaks out about the sexual abuse he suffered at the age of 15. The former Nickelodeon star appears in the new documentary Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV, which investigates the experiences of former child stars who worked on Nickelodeon shows produced by Dan Schneider. According to Today.com, Drake tells his story for the first time publicly, reportedly revealing he was the unnamed minor in the 2004 sexual assault conviction of acting coach Brian Peck. The former child star reportedly says in the film that the coach abused him over the course of months at his home, allegedly turning Drake against his father, who had become suspicious of Peck, and ultimately his mother and stepfather. According to Today, Drake says his separation from his family meant he often spent the night at Peck's home.
So let me explain something to you guys, for you guys who may not understand. How did they end up being even close? One thing about acting, and I realize this because I'm trying to be an actor, and I've been on set for 15 hours, 12 to 15 hours. I will say this. You'll realize that you're on set every day. And I was a stunt, I was a stunt double for one of the main actors. So I was on set 8 or 9 times throughout the whole season. And you shoot The main actors shoot way more than that. But even within those 8 or 9 times that I shot, we made a family with the other background actors. I got really close with them. I built bonds with them that was just crazy just to have. Just because you're on set 12 to 15 hours, you got nothing else to do but talk to the dudes who are in your circle. And even though I'm not one of the main actors, all the background actors, who are doing background or whatever, I got to talk to some of those people. And as a stunt double, you're not the actor, but they treat you somewhat like the actor sometimes, depending on what show or what movie you're doing. I got treated on a different level, and I would say I got to connect with the background actors on a different level. And that's why when you're seeing, like, why are they hugging? Why are they so close? Because guess what? They're with each other for hours.
The Drake and Josh alum reportedly says that one morning, quote, "I woke up and he was sexually assaulting me, and I froze and was in complete shock and had no idea what to do or how to react." He says he later revealed the abuse to his mother, who called police. According to court records viewed by E! News, the acting coach, now 63, was convicted of 2 charges that included lewd act upon a child 14 or 15 by a person 10 years or older and oral copulation of a person under 16. He served over a year in prison and was made to register as a sex offender. E! News has reached out to Brian Peck, Dan Schneider, and Nickelodeon for comment, but has not yet heard back. In a statement to NBC News, a Nickelodeon spokesperson says, quote, "Now that Drake Bell has disclosed his identity as the plaintiff in the 2004 case, we are dismayed and saddened to learn of the trauma he has endured, and we commend and support the strength required to come forward." As far as the workplace allegations against Dan Schneider addressed in the documentary, a spokesperson for the 58-year-old previously told E! News he understood what they were going through and he was their biggest champion. The fact is, many of the kids on these shows are put in the untenable position of becoming the breadwinner for their family and the pressure that comes along with that. It continued, in part, that is why there are many levels of standards, executives, lawyers, teachers, and parents everywhere all the time, on every set, every day. However, it is still a hard place to be a kid, and nobody knew that better than.
Yes, that is true. And if you've ever been to a set, you know that, like, a set is deep. And, like, I've seen, like, some of, like, the talks about, or excuse me, I've seen videos of, like, the R. Carly set and how it was just like, yeah, you thought it was down the hall, but no, it's just a corner in the left. It's just a setup. You know what I'm saying? It's just a setup. But there are so many ways, you know what I'm saying, that even though, people are everywhere, stuff can still happen. You know what I'm saying? And you even see that with Drake Bell's dad talking about it. Give me 1 second, let me find it. Give me 1 sec. But yeah, Drake Bell's dad was talking about it, and he's seen it. And that's another thing too. It's even worse, and it looks worse on Nickelodeon because he's seen it, he spoke up, and then they still, like, they didn't do anything about it, or at least he said that he spoke up.
The business and what you got to watch your kids and this and that. So I was very attentive.
As any father should be.
All the other parents would be seen and not heard, which I would never interrupt anything, but very rarely sit in the green room. I'd always be offset somewhere where I could always keep my eyes on Drake. And unfortunately, I started seeing Brian start to just hang around Drake too much. And it didn't set well with me. Drake would be in the dressing room or something, and in would pop Brian and just touch Drake. Do things that, wait a second, what are you doing? Drake can put that on himself. And the thing is, this is in front of people. Then he'd maybe walk over to Drake and be feeding him some lines or whatever and put his arm around his waist, put his hand up on his shoulder and kind of run it down his arm and things like that. And this would happen routinely. Was just always uncomfortable.
Yeah. As a father, man, Um, I can only imagine, seeing that and then speaking up and then nothing being done. Um, at the end of the day, I think this is where it's just like, yo, like that's very traumatizing. You know what I'm saying? And just for like SA and just in general, SA meaning sexual assault. I'm gonna say SA a lot. It's never okay, no matter on what level, but on on a child, you've reached a different level of sick. You reached a different level of sick. And this is another part. He only served a year in jail. And then again, Drake Bell, this is Drake Bell talking about the sentencing. And this is the crazy part. This is going to shock you, right?
It was a different time, so I think it was a little easier to go to and from a courthouse and not worry about Twitter that night or TMZ paparazzis being there. On the day of sentencing for Brian, I get to the courthouse. It was the most unbelievable thing I'd ever seen. His entire side of the courtroom was full. Full.
That right there should say something to you. I don't know if nothing I'm saying in this video makes sense to you. That right there should say something to you. And I don't even have to go into detail. That should say something to you.
There were definitely some recognizable faces on that side of the room. And my side was me, my mom, and my brother.
So nobody was there to support, bro?
Brian had been convicted, but getting all of this support from a lot of people in the industry, and yeah, I was pretty shocked. My mom got up, she had a statement. I wasn't going to address Brian. There was no reason to. I addressed my statement to everyone in the room. I looked at all of them, and I just said, "How dare you?" And I said, "You will forever have the memory of sitting in this courtroom and defending this person. And I will forever have the memory of the person you're defending violating me and doing unspeakable acts and crimes. And that's what I'll remember."
That is so powerful. If you don't understand how powerful this is, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you watching the wrong video. But this, oh my gosh. I don't even know how to feel, bro. Like, you don't realize how many, oh my God. And it's just, and if it was anybody else, I'm still on the same timing. Sexual assault is wrong. What are you doing? The fact that they're backing this, it hurts even more, man. And these people still out here today. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. So, other than that, we're talking about Brian Peck. He's out of jail currently. We also have Dan Schneider, who was really, really, really big on Nickelodeon. So Dan Schneider was working with Nickelodeon for years before I was even thought of. He was accused of creating a hostile work environment, and two child actors who are African American, they came on the platform to speak about their experiences. And honestly, dude, crazy, man. I don't even know. Just sit
21 child endangerment conviction. Nickelodeon saying in a statement, "We are dismayed and saddened to learn of the trauma."
Because you know why? Because it's a new reset of Nickelodeon. They don't have the same people in there. And this is what you notice about a job. People move on. Like, you think these people are like at the same company? No. They work for different companies now. Nickelodeon could have been their start. Now they working at, I ain't gonna say no company names, but now they work for different companies. You know what I'm saying? So, hey,
He has endured, and we commend and support the strength required to come forward.
I can't even describe the feeling to know that there was a monster among us.
Giovanni Samuels and Brian Hearn starred in All That in 2001 and say Peck worked closely with the child actors.
When you saw who the victim was,
it broke my heart. I cried.
We weren't close with Drake, but we were around him. He was a legend. And so to find out that he was being harmed,
brutally harmed,
in a terrible way, it infuriated me.
Hearn and Samuels also speaking about former writer and executive producer Dan Schneider, who Nickelodeon parted ways with in 2018 after complaints he created a hostile work environment.
What was it like working for Dan Schneider?
Dan...
You're asking the two black children on a Nickelodeon set where
we were overlooked.
The actors were calling sketches written by Schneider's team like on-air dare.
Yeah. Those were torture moments for all of us.
Hearn's dare had him covered in peanut butter and then licked by dogs.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This is sick to me. And it really hurts my heart to see this. I'm sorry. No matter if it was funny back in the day to you or not, I think this is sick.
My on-air dare, I was saying, I don't like this. And to see that is...
And to voice it.
And to have voiced it.
I don't like this. And to be ignored because, oh, it's funny.
Yeah. Was it funny?
Who was it funny for?
Right.
It wasn't for me.
Hearn and Samuel say they hope the series sparks an important conversation about the treatment of child actors.
Your childhood is going to be a little tainted after watching it,
yeah.
But I hope that it helps you protect the next group of kids that comes up.
Now about the hostile workplace.
I'm sorry. I don't even know how to feel. I don't even know how to feel because that's not... It's terrible, man. It's just terrible, man. With that being said, guys, I think there's a lot of things that like get just talking to some actors that I've met. I met one actor. I won't name his name. Me and him, had a very vivid discussion at talking about SA, and he talked about how he went for a commercial interview and he was touched, and how he immediately kind of just flipped out. And at the end of the day, guys, I think it's very interesting because no matter where it happens, no matter what happens, I think it's wrong. You know what I'm saying? And I think, hopefully companies are now stepping forward to make the necessary changes, but I think it's just sick. You know what I'm saying? I think, a lot, especially, we're talking about a lot of on college campuses. No means no, if she doesn't want to be touched, she doesn't want to be touched. But at the end of the day, for this situation, it's just sick that this is happening to kids. They talked about Dan Schneider, creating a hostile work environment. If you ever been on set, you understand, and I'm not saying it's hostile at all. The set that I was on, I worked on Bel Air and for All America Homecoming, which were amazing. But if you've ever been on set, you definitely know that it's you're there for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So just to speak in connection to them, who knows the mental toughness that it took to possibly get through that as possible providers for your family, and you're only 10 trust me, guys, I think it's a different conversation that needs to be had, and I'm glad they're bringing it up because we don't want to see this in the future, and not just for child actors, for all actors. You know what I'm saying? Um, this is something that I did see, and this will be the last video that I show. They talked about how Brian Peck discovered disturbing John Wayne Gacy letter. They discovered a John Wayne Gacy letter in Brian Peck's home. I don't know about much about John Wayne Gacy, but I know he was a savage killer, and I know he was, he has some perverted ways about him. And with that being said, I just want to say this. When it comes to looking into background of people, you don't know how people operate when they're at home and they close their door. They have weird little kinks about them. They have weird little things that intrigue them. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people may feel like the superhero. Some people may feel like the villain. Some people are just sick. And you have to understand that about people. Yes, some of your friends that you've known for years, you don't know what they have going on in their minds when they close the door at home. You know, I'm not saying, this is not a diss to any of your friends or any of my friends, anyone. But you have to just be vigilant and understand that you don't know what people are going through when they close their door at home. I've been in situations, this is why I can speak on this. I went to college, and if you've ever been to Cal State University Northridge, there are 25 buildings with 300 students. I have met so many people. As a dude who kind of was very known on campus, talked to a lot of people, I have seen some very dark things. Very dark things. And I ain't gonna get into too much of that, but that just speaks to the fact that, like, you never know what people are going through when they go home and they close their door at home.
I remember at the time, I think it was about like 2.5 years in, everyone went to Brian's house for a barbecue, and his house was a little off. He had a room that was just dedicated to like vintage toys and comic books, and he'd converted his garage into like a Planet of the Apes shrine. I noticed a painting in the room that stuck out to me because it had nothing to do with Planet of the Apes. It was of a birthday clown holding balloons. And Brian got very excited when I asked him about it. He flipped the thing around, and on the back it said, "To Brian, I hope you enjoy the painting. Best wishes, your friend, John Wayne Gacy." It was a self-portrait of serial killer, John Wayne Gacy. At this point, I'm like...
Sick, bro. That's sick, bro.
14. I didn't know, like, the details, but I knew, like, this guy's a serial killer who, like, killed a lot of young men and boys. My instinct was, like, everyone has to see this. And so, like, all the parents and the kids come into the room, and then Brian presents the painting again. And Brian actually developed a pen pal relationship with John. He kept, like, this pile of letters and photos from John Wayne Gacy in his nightstand next to his bed. And he, like, pulls them out and starts showing them to me. Your instinct is to give someone the benefit of the doubt. If you've known them for that long, even in the face of, like, this really bad sign. It was one of those, like, classic failures of group psychology.
So you see what I'm saying? You see exactly what I'm saying? And I want to play that back part so you understand.
Brian presents the painting again. And Brian...
He presented the painting to all of the parents. And nobody thought, oh yeah, this guy's sick. I'm going to tell you, my mama would have been like, oh yeah, this dude's sick. We up out of here. We up out of here. We up out of here. Bro, weird. My LA going to start coming out. Bro, it was a weirdo, for sure. What are you talking about?
Actually developed a pen pal relationship with John. He kept, like, this pile of letters and photos from John Wayne Gacy in his nightstand next to his bed. And he, like, pulls them out and starts showing them to me. your instinct is to give someone the benefit of the doubt. If you've known them for that long, even in the face of like this really bad sign. It was one of those like classic failures of group psychology.
Guys, I have nothing else to say, but this blew my mind. I honestly, man, I love acting. I would love to, possibly grow my acting career, and I will. But at the same time, I just think this is definitely kind of hurts. You know what I'm saying? Just to say, like, man, people do experience things on set. I'm grateful that I don't know if it was All American, what All American and Bel Air was through, but I was grateful to have good experiences on those sets. But at the same time, I'm just saddened to hear about what people go through within other companies. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, guys, I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments, man. We're gonna have a good discussion about this, because guess what? This affected me so much, because like Drake Bell is one of my favorite actors, man. Just to see this from him, I absolutely gone. And let me just say this: sexual assault on any level is wrong. You know what I'm saying? If to a kid, mother, father, son, daughter, doesn't matter who it is, it's all wrong. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate y'all for tapping in today, man. We're going to get into more talks about this. Let's tap in more. We're going to have more videos coming soon, more videos dropping every day. Tap in with your boy. Blame it on Chris. We out.
Everybody hates me.